The message appeared across every major screen on Earth at exactly the same moment. On news stations, on public signs, on personal communication devices, even in classrooms. The seal of the Galactic Empire spun slowly like a cold emblem of power, and then a voice followed. It was not an angry voice. It was calm, confident, and practiced, like someone delivering a speech they had already given 1,000 times to weaker civilizations. It said that humanity must surrender all military forces, must hand over control of orbital stations, and must accept the rule of the Empire within 12 hours. Otherwise, Earth would face consequences that had destroyed entire star systems before. Their message carried images from past conquests, burned planets, shattered fleets, fallen civilizations. But something comedic happened next. Nobody on Earth reacted the way the Empire expected. No one screamed. No one begged for safety. No one rushed underground. Instead, people continued drinking coffee, children continued their classes, workers continued their office shifts, and the population treated it like a boring announcement about weather conditions. Citizens read the message, shrugged, and returned to daily life. The Galactic Empire had sent the message expecting fear. What they received was silence. Inside Terran Command Station Solaris, the main defense hub orbiting Earth, only 5 people sat inside the Grand Strategy Hall. Massive displays around them showed the Empire's fleet, vast ships the size of floating cities, already positioned around Earth's neighboring colonies. Admiral Cade leaned back in his seat. His eyes were quiet, his voice soft. He asked only one question. Are the deep core fleets still asleep? His operation officer nodded. Dormant, sir. Their systems remain sealed beneath Earth's mantle. Cade responded with a gentle tone, almost casual. Wake them. There was no dramatic alarm. There were no flashing warnings. The activation was silent. Deep under Earth's surface, inside old iron vaults built during humanity's darkest war, ancient warships began to breathe again. Entire continents trembled as massive hangar gates, hidden for generations beneath oceans and deserts, slowly opened. From beneath those gates, old ships rose, ships built during an age when humanity fought extinction-level enemies. They did not roar to life, they hummed, glowing with silent blue light. People walking near coastal cities watched columns of water rise as the first spacecraft emerged. There was no panic. Instead, crowds cheered. They carried food stalls, they recorded videos, they treated it like a celebration rather than preparation for war. News feeds began broadcasting live footage. Commentators did not panic. They smiled. Looks like the deep core ships are finally waking, one said casually. Another responded, it has been a long time since Earth prepared anything serious. This will be interesting. No sadness. No fear. Just curiosity. Like spectators waiting for a fireworks show. Meanwhile, in the Empire's Forward Command flagship, panic did exist, but not from humans. Empire officers stared at the reaction from Earth, confused and uncomfortable. Why is their population not evacuating? One officer asked. Why are their commanders not sending surrender requests? Another wondered. Their intelligence minister gave the answer. Humans believe they cannot lose. This is not arrogance. They believe it because history trained them to survive. While the Empire analyzed, humanity remained silent. The Terran fleet rose, ship after ship, lining into formation above Earth. Their hulls reflected deep neon blue energy patterns that shimmered like calm oceans. They did not move aggressively. They simply waited. Admiral Cade then issued a communication back toward the Empire. His message did not threaten them. It did not insult them. It contained only 2 words. Come closer. The silence that followed was larger than any battle sound. No human screamed. No officer doubted. Cities remained peaceful. While the Galactic Empire expected a frightened world preparing to kneel, they found a species sitting quietly, waiting, and smiling. Humanity did not surrender because humanity had already faced worse enemies long before the Empire even existed. The genetic memory of extinction never left them. So when the Empire declared their countdown, humanity did not bow. They simply prepared. And they prepared without fear. Part 1 closes as the Terran fleet moves into perfect alignment above Earth, ships glowing silently across the night sky, while billions of humans sit beneath them, calm, confident, and entertained by the very idea of being threatened. When the countdown reached its halfway point, the Empire finally decided to reveal its first move. Their reconnaissance fleet, stationed just beyond Earth's orbit, powered up massive deep scan arrays. These scanners were designed to map every ship, weapon, energy source, and life sign within entire star systems. No fleet had ever resisted them, not even the most advanced civilizations known. However, the moment they turned those scanners toward the Terran fleet, something unexpected happened. The screens returned nothing. Not incorrect data. Not scrambled information. Nothing. It was as if Earth had no fleet at all. Empire technicians began recalibrating, increasing energy throughput until reactors glowed bright red. They scanned again. Same result, complete emptiness. Their scanners showed Earth's orbit as blank space. Inside Terran Command Station Solaris, humans watched the Empire's confusion with quiet amusement. They knew exactly what would happen next: panic. While the Empire tried to locate Terran ships, the fleet continued drifting forward. It was not stealth in a traditional sense. They were not just hidden, they existed outside normal detection channels. A foreign ambassador visiting Earth tried to ask how this was possible. Admiral Cade simply answered, "Visibility is optional." Those 3 words were enough to silence the entire conference hall. The Empire then sent a direct transmission. "This is a malfunction. Present your fleet to allow proper identification." Earth did not respond. Instead, the Terran destroyers disappeared. No light flashes. No warp distortions. No engine surge. They simply vanished from existence. Empire sensors panicked, searching wildly across space, until suddenly, Terran ships reappeared behind the Empire's formation, positioned at angles that would be impossible to detect. This time, humanity announced their presence. A low-frequency pulse echoed through the void. It did not destroy anything. It simply shut down the communication systems aboard every Empire destroyer for 30 seconds. No alarm sounded. No explosions were seen. But every screen across the Empire ships went dark. That silence was the loudest threat ever delivered. The Empire commanders shouted for status reports. Nothing responded. No terminals worked. Even the emergency channels stopped functioning. In the Terran control room, Admiral Cade remained seated, arms folded, speaking gently. "They wanted identification. They now know where we are." The Empire eventually restored communication. Their local commanders demanded an explanation. What kind of weapon disables an entire fleet without firing? No one on Earth answered. Instead, humanity continued quietly preparing. Civilian life remained untouched. Families watched the event unfold like a late-night broadcast. People streamed it online. Some even made humorous commentary. One viewer said, "It feels more like a rehearsal than a war." Another replied, "When did the Empire think we would panic?" The Empire's fleet attempted something desperate next, a force-lock scan. It sends pulses strong enough to detect objects hidden in dimensional valleys. But again, they received nothing. Earth's ships were not invisible. They were inaccessible. A Terran scientist explained the secret through a recorded statement broadcast to the galaxy later. "We do not hide. We exist in layered space. If something cannot reach us, it cannot measure us." This was humanity's true advantage. Not bigger weapons. Not stronger armor, but presence beyond normal physics. With their failed scanning attempt, the Empire tried psychological pressure. Their command ships began to glow with red warning lines and charged up their planetary cannons, ready to fire. Earth responded differently. The Terran fleet moved closer, not aggressively, not at attack speed, but slowly, steadily, almost peacefully. It was like humanity was approaching a frightened child, not an enemy. Many Empire officers could not understand this behavior. They expected panic or surrender. But humanity showed confidence without hostility. The Empire transmitted again. "Are you attempting to intimidate us?" Earth finally replied. "No. We are taking position." The Empire commander's voice trembled. "For what purpose?" "To prevent you from hurting yourselves." The Empire did not know how to reply. Because humanity was not preparing to win. They were preparing to control the damage. Part 2 ends with Terran ships fully surrounding the Empire fleet, not trapping them, but protecting space so the Empire would not mistakenly start a war they could not finish. The galaxy had never seen power demonstrated so gently. And that was what terrified them most. The Empire could no longer ignore the reality unfolding around them. Their scanners had failed, their fleet formations were compromised, and their confidence was fading. Still, pride is a powerful thing. Their High Admiral, an aging war veteran who once conquered 5 civilizations in a single decade, gave a direct order. "Fire upon the Terrans. Make them submit." His officers hesitated. Not because they feared humanity, but because humanity had done nothing yet. No threats, no insults, no sudden movements. Attacking someone who had not attacked felt unnatural even to them. But his order was final. Thousands of energy lances fired simultaneously, streaking through space. Light turned into sharp blue-white lines cutting toward Earth's fleet. To the Empire's relief, nearly every strike hit direct hull. And then something unbelievable happened. The Terran ships absorbed the hits. Not deflected. Not shielded. Absorbed. The impacts vanished on contact as if swallowed by the ship's structure. The Empire's engineers stared in horror. That is impossible. Energy cannot simply disappear. But it did. Humanity did not reply with words. They replied with precision. The Terran flagship released a soft pulse across space, barely visible, like a ripple of faint blue air. No explosions followed. None of the Empire's ships were destroyed. But something far worse happened. Every enemy ship shut down. Weapons offline. Engines offline. Life support offline. Power blacked out. Inside the Empire ships, alarms rumbled but produced no sound. Their lights dimmed, systems flickered, and screens displayed only a single symbol. Terran lock engaged. One of the Empire's technicians shouted, "Our systems are not damaged. They are intentionally paused." Paused. Not broken. Paused. Meaning humanity could turn them back on at any moment. The Terran fleet drifted silently among the frozen ships. Not a single human voice transmitted a threat. Not a single gun fired a follow-up shot. Humanity did not destroy, they disabled. The Empire tried to reboot systems using manual overrides. Nothing happened. Even emergency life support remained still. Oxygen levels inside the ships dropped slowly, not enough to kill, but enough to terrify. Just when panic began to spread, Terran Command reactivated the atmosphere systems. Not weapons. Not shields. Just oxygen. As if humanity was reminding them. We decide whether you breathe. Across the Empire flagship, officers could feel their pride dissolving. Why are they not finishing us? The Vice Admiral whispered. Because destruction is inefficient, their strategist answered. Meanwhile, aboard Terran Command, Admiral Cade finally stood and issued his first real statement. This is not war. This is correction. His command ship transmitted a message, not just to the Empire but across all listening systems in the galaxy. We never asked for peace, and we never demanded respect. But if someone threatens humanity, we will disable their ability to cause harm. The message didn't sound hostile. It sounded factual. The Empire's High Admiral tried sending a counter-transmission and found his voice shaking. You could have eliminated us. Why did you not? An Earth officer replied calmly. We do not erase civilizations. We erase mistakes. The Terran fleet then performed a coordinated maneuver. Space folded around them, silent, clean distortions like thin ripples over black water. Suddenly, the Terran ships repositioned again, forming two massive rings around the Empire fleet. But they did not trap them. They stabilized space around them. Because the Empire's energy surge earlier had destabilized local orbit, Earth's ships corrected gravitational flow so the Empire vessels would not drift into debris fields. So humans disabled their weapons. And protected them from danger. It was the most humiliating mercy action in galactic history. The moment power returned to Empire systems, every officer already knew the war was over. Not because they could not fight anymore. But because humans held power they did not understand, yet humanity wielded it without cruelty. We request truce. Not because we are defeated, but because humanity does not fight like any species we have ever encountered. And for the first time in centuries, the Empire admitted fear. Not of destruction. But of disappointment. Because humanity did not even consider them worthy enough to fight. When the Empire's surrender request reached Earth, it did not arrive with the usual signatures of defeat. No military badges were removed. No commanders were dismissed. Instead, the transmission sounded like something completely different, like someone seeking clarity. The message simply said, if we agree to peace, tell us what humanity actually wants. This question spread across the galaxy like a shockwave. Countless species listened, curious, waiting for humanity's response. Many expected threats. Others expected demands of resources or imperial authority. But Earth answered with something no one predicted. We want nothing. There was silence across every listening channel. Nothing. No planets, no armies, no control. The Empire Council assumed it was a trick, so they repeated their question, more carefully this time. What do humans require in exchange for this victory? The Terran response came again. Respect self-governance. That is all. The galaxy froze, not from fear, but confusion. A species that could disable fleets without harming them, only wanted the right to exist freely. Meanwhile, aboard the Terran flagship, Admiral Cade gave his own order. Release them. The command was irreversible. The systems which held every Empire vessel motionless unlinked. Ships began to move again. Lights returned. Engines reignited. Orbit stabilized. Terran ships drifted back, clearing space for the Empire to reposition freely. Not a single ship followed them. Not a single weapon tracked them. The Empire was free, fully operational, and safe. The High Admiral appeared again on the general stream. His face was not proud anymore. It was humbled, almost relieved. We do not understand why you chose restraint, he confessed. Admiral Cade replied with a tone that sounded more like teaching than victory. Power is not proof of dominance. Power is proof of responsibility. The Empire listened quietly. Then humanity transmitted something unexpected. A series of historical records, open media files, available to all. They showed ancient Terran wars, battles fought not for expansion but survival. They revealed extinction-level threats humanity had once faced, creatures that devoured planets, machines that erased solar systems, plagues that wiped out stars. The Empire's scientists studied those records and discovered something horrifying and beautiful at the same time. Humanity did not become powerful by choice. They became powerful because their universe demanded it. Their weapons existed not for conquest, but because their past enemies required such force to stop. Across the galaxy, smaller civilizations began sending messages of respect. Many requested alliances, not military ones, but knowledge-based ones. Earth accepted them. No borders. No tribute. No chain of command. Just information. A few days later, the Empire officially released a treaty recognizing Earth as an autonomous sovereign civilization, untouchable, unrestricted, and unchallenged by any galactic authority. Their final statement said, "Where humanity walks, balance follows." The galaxy repeated it. Some called humanity a myth reborn. Some called them the old race returned. Some called them dangerous. But no one called them weak again. Meanwhile, back on Earth, nothing special happened. Schools reopened as usual. Streets remained crowded. People returned to slow coffee mornings and late-night walks. For humanity, it was just another day. Admiral Cade visited his home city for the first time in months. There were no celebrations waiting for him. Children played in parks, completely unaware of how close the galaxy had come to war. He sat on a quiet public bench, watching them, quietly satisfied. One journalist approached and asked, "What do you think the Empire learned today?" Cade answered, "That fear is optional. Survival is earned. And peace is a decision." Later that night, he received a final transmission, not from the Empire, but from a coalition of previously conquered species. It read, "If the Empire threatens us again, will humanity stand with us?" He replied with only one sentence. "We do not defend planets. We remind civilizations who they are capable of becoming." And he turned off his device. Beyond Earth's sky, the Terran fleet drifted back into semi-sleep mode, motors pulsing faintly like calm heartbeats, no longer needed for conflict. For now. Because humanity never positioned themselves as rulers. They positioned themselves as witnesses. Not to domination. But to growth. And that final understanding spread across the galaxy. Humanity was not the strongest because they wanted to be feared. They were the strongest because they decided not to use strength as a weapon. That is what separated them. Not their fleet. Not their technology. Not their stealth or precision. But their ability to choose peace, even when they held the power to end everything.